we're gonna get into this big mess here. This is actually about furry art. So if any of you guys are a furry, I would actually love to hear your 2 cents about this as well. This furry art drama situation is about an artist who has some AI accusations kind of floating around. People thought they were using AI. And then somebody made a call out post like yesterday about them. Let's get into this. The very first post, likely about the whole AI situation with this individual, was posted by 4-Leaf Island, who goes by Critter. Now, the artist that is up for debate here is by the handle of Heart of Senso. Again, this is not to send hate to the artist anything. We're just kind of looking at this entire situation that unfolded. Critter made this post writing, "Hello, my friend Mac was accused of using AI, and I'd like to answer some questions to explain my experiences with him as an artist to vouch for him that he does not." This is a remake of a previous thread. More about that. "I have remade this thread to give the person I originally responded to in a quote retweet some peace, despite me specifically stating not to harass that person and that my thread's only intention was to debunk misinformation and explain Mac's actions. My wishes were not respected. For this, I am so sorry and ashamed of those that would do something like this in my name. I may not have the skills to navigate large-scale drama like this because I make a habit of staying out of it, so I thought by speaking plainly and unemotionally, things would work out. To reinstate what was already present in my previous thread in a more organized manner this time, why has Mac been accused of using AI? Mac is a digital painter who often makes collages of IRL photos and paints them as his reference. Because of this and how clean his painting and the quality of his sketchwork, he has been accused of using Gen AI in his art. The inconsistencies in his work, which are completely due to human error, are being pointed out as the reason for this accusation. While accusations of AI usage are becoming more common, Mac was asked to provide proof for specific pieces he no longer has the file for, specifically this cat mechanic piece. As we can see here, here is a piece of a cat mechanic, and then here we have a car. Disclaimer, I am not a furry, nor do I engage in a lot of anthropomorphic artwork, right? Like animal, humans, furry artwork, etc. So in terms of recognizing like furry AI artwork, I'm not going to be as good of it. I'm just going to point out some inconsistencies that are typically present in AI, but can also be human error, okay? A couple of ones is when they do a side-by-side piece like that, the character design will change, but slightly, right? Sometimes when people do side-by-side pieces of a character, they'll do two versions. They'll do like a character in a daytime outfit and a character in a nighttime outfit, a character at work versus a character lounging at home. So they'll be in different outfits, different clothing. There have been cases where people have used AI artwork to generate the same image. It will always look slightly off. That's because AI will not get the details right every single time. Let me see if I can find an example real quick about what I'm talking about. So here is an example of this that I'm talking about, okay? This is AI art, okay? This was from a previous YouTube video that I've covered about Fiverr AI artists. This is very, very, very definitely AI artwork, okay? This is what I mean. They will do a side-by-side of the character. This should be the same character, but it's slightly different, but not different enough to make it make sense, right? It's as if she's wearing like the same jacket, but the details are off, right? Like the jacket is the wrong color, the stockings have the wrong detailing, the hairpins are now missing. The fingers also are completely jacked up here. Yeah, maybe it's inverted colors. You could maybe think that potentially. But then I go over here, these two should really be the same character then, right? If you were to make the argument, maybe these two are maybe different characters. These two surely are the same character, right? Their eyes are different colors though. The hairpin is also slightly different. The text on the sleeve is like off. The buttons on the jacket aren't even the same color. This one's blue, this one's pink. Do you see what I mean though? They're like slightly different, but not enough for it to actually make it make sense as to why it's like a different character. As in daytime outfit, nighttime outfit, inverted color, something like that, you know, it's not the same. And it's just because AI will not get the details completely correct every single time. They'll sometimes fudge it. It is kind of present here, right? Where there's a pin on the label, maybe because of the way it's angled, you can't see it anymore. The nose is slightly a different color. This ear is missing the orange, right? The patchworks are not the same on the stomach nor on the sleeve. Again, you could argue this could be a human making a decided choice to go and add different details. This is also something we see with AI art. So It's not a smoking gun. It's not the end all be all. I can see potentially, right, why it might look a little odd. But again, when it comes to determining whether somebody has used AI or not, typically you would need to look at all of their art pieces or a significant chunk of it to look at the inconsistencies throughout their art piece. Do they just tend to make a lot like, human esque errors in their pieces? Or is it a little bit more nefarious, right? One piece typically cannot just tell you that. Unless it looked like the other screenshot I just showed you, then we can tell. The patchwork being different on the sleeves, whatever, it could be AI, it again could be human choice just to be like, hey, these are like two different potential overall variations. Let's just see. So Critter continues, why does Mac not have the file or speed paint for this specific piece? Mac works on iPads, specifically on Procreate. A lot of people brought up that Procreate has speed draws turned on automatically, which Mac has turned off. This is because he has limited iPad storage. Oh, by the way, I forgot to add, not having the piece or not being able to provide proof of a speed paint or something like that is also a bit suspicious of AI art. Again, like I'm saying, it works both ways. There are definitely human artists with an iPad with 64 gigabytes of storage and you don't have enough storage for the speed paint, or you like delete older drawings because you don't have enough storage. That is completely true and it happens. It is also an excuse that AI fake artists, right, will not be able to provide a speed paint because they didn't paint it themselves. It is an excuse we have seen AI fakers use. It is also a legitimate explanation sometimes when they just don't have enough storage. This is because he has limited iPad storage. I myself do this on my own laptop. When commission pieces are over a month old, unless the commissioner has specifically asked for later editions, I flatten and dispose of the image to save storage. Yeah, I get that. Storage is hard to find. This is common practice for anybody who regularly takes many clients or works with a large rotation of art pieces, as many freelance artists do. Why the inconsistencies? Considering Mac uses multiple different photos as references for similar pieces, and experimentation within a design is pretty common for design work, I would know. There are going to be differences between renders in a painting. As stated, I and many others also do this. I think I only do not get questioned because I have a more cartoony style, but as far as I know, I have shown every AI tell there is. I believe Mac is being singled out because of his art style unfairly. Why not just post a speed paint then? He is going to. I spoke to Mac in private and this was offered but refused by people accusing him of AI. Unless he was able to provide a specific speed paint for a piece he no longer has the file to, they would not believe him. I know this thread is a bit longer than the previous one, but if you read this far, please do not put any energy you have into harassing those that made false accusations. This is no justice, and you should instead show that support towards Mac and other artists you love. I make a habit to stay away from drama. A lot of people asked why I got involved when I have a following bigger than others, which I did because Mac is my friend. If I didn't use what I had to protect people I love, I would not have respect for myself. Regardless of what size I am, I will always provide the truth when I have it, but I will do better in the future to do so in a way that does not victimize those I wish no ill intent upon. I only want to provide information to help expand people's perspectives. Thank you. So here we have another thread. This was by Twitter user Saparax writing, and this was a day after Critter's thread. Detailed reasoning as to why I believe Heart of Senso, aka Mac, may be utilizing AI in their artwork. Before I begin, I want to say these are merely observations as an artist. I do not believe Mac uses AI for all of his works. I believe Mac is artistically very talented, and that is why he's able to get away with using AI in his work. The images accused were only made a year ago and less, so I believe any art made before this time last year is not AI assisted at all. And some pieces in the past year have no signs of AI usage, but some do have signs, so I'm here to share that observation. But PJ continues, I believe the reason why it's much more difficult to detect AI images in Mac's art is due to the fact he's able to artistically cover up the original image. He also uses noise effects in his art a lot too, which can make it harder to see artifacting. Artifacting basically being like very, very random, obscure shapes and like pieces in artwork that humans typically do not make. I do not think he uploads just generated images. I believe he edits the image and paints over AI evidence. I will add my observations below. So here is the first graphic, right? Pieces that aren't suspicious, use this as a style ref. Rendering is consistent, no artifacting or stray lower quality parts. Here we have two sea creatures kind of in clothing, right? Mac is in fact artistically talented. Note the hard brush used. Again, two pieces. And here again, here we have a side-by-side, right? Which makes complete sense. It is literally like the same character, just a different pose. But all the elements, of the horn, the fur, everything is the same. This is what I mean when the side-by-side actually makes sense. And then when there's like really tiny minor changes, that's like, huh. So here PJ adds this piece here. So here we have kind of like a tiger piece where the tiger looks to be kind of like drinking ramen out of a bowl or consuming ramen out of a bowl. You note here, harsher brush. Specifically here you can see where it was drawn with a sharper brush. And then they kind of like mention some artifacting, I guess with the like zigzag on the back. No whisker dots. Design in this pic is not accurate to the left piece at all. This is marked as a sold adopt on Toy House. Why would you not even make a design accurate, especially if you're selling it? Much blurrier here with random textures. You can see a harsher brush split between these fingers. This brush isn't the same as this one. And then here we have some ramen bowl detailing. This is again what I kind of mean, right? When it's like side by side, but it's not the same character, but it's also not different necessarily. You know, maybe it's like a different outfit. With AI art, here are other two pieces. So here we have the side by side again. Oh, here we can kind of see there's some artifacts going on the neck area. The big thing, again, is like AI is quite poor at drawing stars. It's always pretty funny. The stars will have 5 points, 4 points, 7 points, 0, like 2 points. That is always the funny one to me. Again, humans can draw like that too. It's just we also see AI do that. So here again, they're kind of signaling the hard brush and then, ooh, artifacting that likely could have been removed. And then they're highlighting how you can here likely see the image below. This is the big accusation that people have made about this artist. People online, netizens, have suspected that they have generated an AI image and then painted on top of the image. So that's kind of a theory. For me, it's like the kind of the artifacting going on in the bandana. Again, right? This was the big one, right? The engineer cats or the mechanic cat. They're indicating overalls merge into shirt, which you can see that here on the side. That's something that's pretty kind of telltale of AI, right? There's the overalls down here, another line conveniently here. Nose color changes despite same lighting. Yeah, the nose being different colors. Blocked, unblocked. Low-key, I actually don't think this is AI, the car sketch here. The car sketch to me just kind of seems like a car sketch. Here we have this one, visible difference between plaid drawn in with a sharper brush, right? The plaid. This one. PJ adds, now these were the examples I thought were most solid. I found a few more, but I passed on them. Reminder, these are merely observations. You can make your own opinions about this. What's interesting is this point in his TOS, which is something I've never heard of. While not definitive proof of anything, it is something to keep in mind. So here we have one about the minor revisions, right? But look at TOS point 3.3, writing detailed instructions. I often prefer to not accept commissions with extremely detailed descriptions of what your character could be wearing, holding, doing, etc. This limitation stems from the desire to express my full artistic ability without feeling confined. If possible, providing general direction and allowing me to adhere to your OC style or favorite accessory enhances the creative process. If you have a super specific idea in mind for the overall commission, please understand that I might not be the artist for you. If you are sure what might constitute this, please feel free to run your idea by me. I am happy to work with you. Look, again, this one's a little bit suspicious, but it's again not a smoking gun, right? Artists have things they're willing to draw and artists have things they're not willing to draw. Some artists just don't want to draw anthropomorphic characters, period. Some artists do not like drawing muscled characters, muscular bodies. Some artists do not like drawing mechs. Every artist has their okays, their not okays. I've never heard of an artist who is like detailed work. I will never do. But again, every artist is completely entitled to setting their boundaries of what they're willing to do and draw and what they aren't willing. But here's another thing. AI is not good at details at all. If you have a complex character, AI cannot generate it well. This is why, like Genshin fan art, Hoyoverse fan art, whatever, when people try to run that through AI and get AI to, I don't know, make fan art of Huta or their favorite character, it will typically fuck it up. That is typically because AI cannot generate complex clothing well. They will always fuck the details up. It will always look weird. So human artists can also choose to not want to do detailed drawings. I get it, right? Details are a pain in the ass to do sometimes. It is also something AI can't do. So you see what I mean? Where it's like none of these points are necessarily a smoking gun to be like, yo, this guy used AI. It's just a little bit suspicious. And you can take those and come to a conclusion on your own. There is genuine human artists that make little errors and stuff like that in their artwork. It'll be a little fuzzy sometimes, whatever, right? Human artists with iPads with very small memory, so therefore they cannot record screen recordings or pull previous screen recordings, so they just never saved it. That is also sometimes the excuse that people who have used AI and pass it off as real work tend to do as well. So PJ adds, I want people to form their own opinions based on my observations and their own. Suspicious behavior and response aside, this is an observation of Mac's art. Please do not send harassment towards this individual, nor DM him asking for proof as they are not willing. I also want to add in here somebody who asked for a speed paint nicely way before this all went down and has contacted me, telling me they were promised a speed paint, didn't get one, again, asked about it again, and was blocked, and the OG post was taken down. So here are the DMs, and this is written in Russian, but on the bottom we can see this is the block message, right? Where somebody's asking, could I see the tiger time lapse? It's really the only one I was curious about. And Max says, it's the one I'll be using for the process vid. I'll tag you once it's up. Then the commenter says, fair enough, and then any updates, and then they were blocked. So people in the comment section about this at the time, because remember, this is September 2024, were kind of hit or miss, right? With people being like, OMG, somebody uses a hard and soft brush. They're totally using AI. Wow. You know, because again, if one of the accusations is like they use different brushes, here they use a hard brush, here they use a soft brush. People use different brushes for different reasons. It's messy. And actually, I saw these first two threads when they originally happened, and I chose to not cover it at the time because I was like, there's not enough. You know what I mean? Like, it was kind of like one side was like, this person used AI. Here's another one of being like, this person did not use AI. And it's really like back and forth about it. But guys, this is a post that blew up. So now we're on January 21st, 2025. This is about 4 months out from those previous two threads that I read to you. And this is posted by Mainstream Trash. That is their Twitter handle. And their handle reads Wob. Wob writes, I just wanted to make an awareness post due to the amount of DMs I received. I commissioned Heart of Senso for a $330 custom back in September. He said it was going to take 3 weeks. It did in fact not take 3 weeks. That wasn't a big deal to me. I messaged him a while later asking if there were any updates. He said he'll send one to me the next day. Did not send one. A few days later, I asked again. He said he sent it the next day. He did not send one. It wasn't until I sent a paragraph about my disappointment and him ignoring me that was when I got my first sketch, seen below. I was super excited and I thought it looked super good. So he said it would be finished in the next 3 days. So here is the sketch. We can take a look at it. It's a little dragon character. It wasn't finished and that was fine, but there was zero communication. I then asked about it a couple more times with zero responses. It wasn't until I sent a paragraph again about his failure to communicate, and then he responded and said he'll finish in the next 3 days, which he did. But then he accidentally sent me a file that didn't have the usual grainy texture that he always adds to his art. The noise texture. I didn't think anything of that, of course, until I started to look closer and notice you can literally see an image underneath. Notice the distinct lines. So here is the tail. They're kind of pointing out how the line, and then there's like, it like really blurs out here, and then all of a sudden the line gets much more harder, right? It looks like it's done with the hard brush, and there's something here. Here again, we can see this is the junk area, but there's, you know, some like little sketch lines, whatever, but that also does seem to be something that is present in their art style. And then here as well, we kind of have the chain, we have the hands. Here again, we can see some sketch lines, and then there's some like kind of fuzziness going on here. Could be an art style choice, right? But could be a bit odd. But yeah, here we have the chain. Again, it's a little bit funky looking of a chain, but this could also be something where like the artist is just scribbling in because it's small, right? So they kind of don't fully draw it out. Wob writes, I chalked it up to stylistic choice maybe. I didn't want to believe he used AI on a $330 commission. But when I showed my friends, they all started pointing out all the things that look like AI. And they also used an AI character generator to generate prompts similar to the character I got. Quote, Anthor emo dragon furry with pants, end quote. It's strange to me that these prompts look so damn similar to the custom I got, all the way down to the same ear and horn shape, same feet, same earring, and same pose. Here we can see we got the dragon. Interesting. Yeah, the paw, look at the paws are all funky in this one. I believe both of these are AI generated, right? The earrings are all off here. This detailing is a bit off. And then so this is their full body. Yeah, both those images are on screen. Yeah, that is reading AI. This is reading AI. But yeah, clarity. These two are both AI. Both not Senso's piece. At this point, I don't think they've posted the full artwork yet for their piece, the finished piece. I don't think I've seen it yet. But Wob writes, this all combined makes me incredibly uncomfortable, so I asked Mac about it. He, of course, said it's not AI, and I asked for a speed paint. He couldn't supply one. I asked for a screenshot of the layers. He couldn't supply that either. I mentioned I would just like my money back. So he helped me advertise the character being for sale. He then deleted it, probably because of all the people saying it looked like AI. At this point, I don't even feel comfortable selling the character with how close it looks to AI. You can of course take all of this with a grain of salt. It's almost impossible to directly prove it's AI, but there are a lot of signs that point to it being used. I mostly made this post because I got a lot of DMs from customers of Max who had bad experiences and people who also thought the art was AI enhanced. Again, I can't prove that it is, but to me and many others, it seems that Mac is possibly using AI on commissioned artwork. If you look at his art, there is a huge distinct difference in the art that is suspected to be AI and the art that isn't suspected to be AI. I would also like to say that I did indeed know about most of these allegations when I commissioned him, but I did not believe it. I believe that it was just the way his art looked. I paid him for the commission because I wanted to support an artist going through a tough time, and I've always loved his work. In this end, this is my own fault for putting trust in him. After this experience, I will never be commissioning him again, and I want to spread awareness. Please don't use AI. The comments are off because I already know I'm going to get harassed into oblivion. Please understand I am not outright saying he uses AI, but it's extremely likely. He doesn't supply speed paints for certain drawings, but will for others. It is just strange. And that's the thing, right? Like, with all of this, nothing is a smoking gun. You know what I mean? Like, we did not see Mac go to an AI image generator, put in anthropomorphic emo dragon with pants, and generate an image. We don't have a smoking gun. With most AI cases, there is not one. It's kind of like you come to your own conclusion, is what it is. But we can argue there's some things that are a bit suspicious, you know? Like, well, the first one, a commission that Wob paid $330 for, was promised to have it finished in 3 weeks. The deadline had passed with no updates. And with like delay after delay after delay, they finally received their artwork later. Okay, they finally get their artwork, but it's been much later than what they were promised. So that's already kind of like one red flag out the gate. Secondly, as well, is they have a bunch of pieces that have AI suspicions as well, but they have no way of proving it's not AI. Again, this one's always 50-50. There have been so many genuine artists that have been accused of AI, and they were able to provide proof, speed paints, whatever. So it's a little bit suspicious that no speed paint could be provided, no layers could even be provided, right? And the friend who was defending them being like, yeah, they just don't have enough storage on their iPad. That's totally fine, but like, you would be able to show the layers at least, right? That you should be able to show. But they couldn't show the layers either. Now that's a little bit odd. And some people might make the argument, oh, as an artist, you don't need to prove anything. And sure, you can follow that sentiment, like, hey, you don't need to prove anything to anyone. That's true. But if you also don't provide any proof to disprove a common narrative that's now floating around, that narrative will continue. That's just how it's going to work. Like, I feel like most artists are not comfortable with a narrative of them using AI, so they will actively try to disprove it. And some people are okay with a narrative like that happening. I don't know, right? It depends. Not everybody's gonna be like that. And then, by the way, going back to the first thread, right? 4-Leaf Island Critter, the person who posted that thread, Critter actually reposted Wob's thread. Guys, look at how handsome my cat is. He's so chunky, he's so big, he's so cute. Sorry. This is why I rebranded my YouTube to Cat and Chat, okay? Because I am Cat and I have a cat and I like to chat. So, moving on. Critter, this was actually put out 11 minutes ago. So, it was put out in the middle of me covering this, by the way, which is crazy. And Critter writes, hey, I would like to respond to this thread both to bring attention to it and to formally apologize to PJ and the people who had first brought it to my attention that Mac was using AI. This will be a bit of a longer thread. Apologies in advance. And this is in reply to Wob's thread. So Critter writes, for context, a few months prior, I made a thread that I am leaving up for transparency despite no longer believing what I said then to be true, defending my friend Mac, who had been accused of using AI in his artistic process. At the time, I had quote retweeted somebody that I saw responding to Mac, PJ, with an explanation of why I did not think Mac used AI art. I was unaware then, by doing so, some people would take this as a sign to harass PJ, because I had specifically asked for this not to happen and for people to instead divert their attention to Mac and Mac's response. That does not change the fact it still happened though, for which I am deeply sorry and want to take accountability. At the time of my original thread, I was also unaware of the number of clients Mac had outstanding for commissions. I cannot ignore that on top of new evidence presented. My condolences go out to everybody who has either lost out on a commission or received AI art from a commission. You deserve better. To other artists, please don't let this make you feel hopeless. Please keep drawing together with me. Right? Like, I don't fault Critter whatsoever, right? It really seems like, they have a friend, they really trusted their friend, they're loyal, and so they see people accusing their friend of using AI, and they're like, no, let me jump to their defense. There's no way, because I'm their friend, right? Like, they're a good person, I swear. And then you find out your friend maybe is not as great of a person as you thought they were. And it's just one of those. Like, I don't blame Critter at all, right? It seemed like they were just trying to be loyal and defend a friend that they felt like was, at the time, receiving unfair accusations. And then as everything came to light, you realize, when you have friends that are being accused of things, I've been there where I've doubled down and like defended my friends being like, no way, like they would never do that. Then I find out they actually were a piece of shit. And I was like, oh, now I look really bad too, because I was just trying to be a good friend. You know what I mean? Like it puts you in an awkward situation as well. I don't fault them at all. I just feel really bad they ended up getting stuck in the crossfire about through everything. And then we have more. So we have this post posted by Twitter user Red Glass, who goes by Grant. They write, Heart of Senso has grifted thousands of dollars shoveling AI slop. Here's another blatant example of AI glorp shit he uploaded and deleted after getting called out within an hour of uploading it. Please note the disappearing leg. If you commission him, demand a refund. So we can see Mac, this is their handle, Heart of Senso, the tiger and a bunny. And the bunny's leg goes into the tiger's leg and absolutely disappears. Let's just note also the fact that the tiger has two tails. Yeah, the leg, the two tails. It's reading a little bit weird to me. Maybe I'm crazy. And here we have Sushi Susi writing, this image alone told me that they were using AI. There are so many inconsistencies from the pattern, the horns, the fur on the scaled underside of the tail, the colors being inconsistent between them all. So here we have 1, 2, 3 pieces, right? We do have some inconsistencies here, right? There's like antenna and there's antenna. And there's no antenna? Little bit odd. And then, I mean, maybe there's a reason why some of the patterning disappears. It's again, a bit odd, right? The tails being slightly different right here, the underside, and then we have the fur, and the fur just turns into the tail here. We don't see that really happening on this one. Missing the antenna, yeah, but wouldn't it still stick out though, right? Like the antenna sticks out pretty far. So even if you were doing a side profile, the antenna would still be somewhat visible, I feel. I don't know, maybe I'm reading too much into it, right? But, and the jacket turning into the tail is pretty funny. Maybe that's part of the design. Sandstorm says, I remember getting flamed because I said it was AI. Glad people are finally realizing it. So Wob had continued following up with the original thread, and here they added, oh, and I do want to add, this is not me saying Mac can't draw at all. He is incredibly talented, which is why I don't understand why he would possibly use AI to enhance his art. The last thing I will mention, I'm sorry, is that this somehow only took him 3 hours with only 6,000 strokes. Again, take this as you will, but I think this kind of puts things into perspective. So here we have the full art piece, right? This was the art piece that Wob had received. Here is the proof, right? Where you can see they opened the canvas stats. And this is from Mac, I'm assuming, right? Where you can see total strokes made 6,000, track time 3,000, total file size 88 megabytes. I'm curious if they could do this. Like, why couldn't they show the layers? I'm like low-key curious what some of my pieces would say. I don't know, here's a piece that I drew of my friend and I. My piece was made in 3 hours and 10 minutes with 2,600 strokes. So 2,600. I have half the amount of brush strokes. Maybe it's like a style thing, this is like a much more like watercolory style. But yeah, there has to be at least one layer they've worked in, right? So following up with this, Wob adds, wow, okay, I got a lot of DMs. I got about 6 DMs from people who paid $400 plus for art from Mac and still haven't received it. One person even paid $700. That is just ridiculous. These people have been waiting for a year. This is so much worse than I imagined. This is awful. I'm sorry, guys. So here are some DMs. And this DM reads, yo, solidarity, I'm sorry about what you went through. This dude stiffed me for $100 like 3 years ago, and my dumbass commissioned him again for another $100 about 9 months ago. He ignored my request for updates up until I asked for my money back 2 weeks ago, which he said he would do. I have not received that money back still. Another person. Hey, just wanted to reach out as another commissioner of Mac. I gave them $500 for a custom and a drawn piece of my fursona in January of last year. I have gotten neither so far with a lot of excuses. I can give you an anonymous testimony for your thread if you'd like. I've resigned to the fact I'm not going to get the art I paid for. Another person. Hey, I appreciate you speaking out about the artist in your recent thread. I'm in the same boat about commissioning something from him and being ghosted. Although mine was about $700 and I paid in May of 2024. I gave him the benefit of doubt since he got accused of AI art and their pet dying. One of my friends who I told this about went in and complained in his DMs without disclosing it was about me, and his response implemented that he did this to other people. Here is another individual writing, hi, I saw your post of Heart of Senso and I feel less alone to hear that others have also been waiting for their commissions. Thank you for your post and not really sure what to do moving forward with my conversation. $600. 600, 700, 500. We're at $2,200 at least. $2,200 of commissions from people who have commissioned this artist, Mac, and have allegedly not received it yet. And Wob adds, by the way, this drawing took me 8 hours working on and off and 6,400 strokes. his took less time than mine and less strokes, but his is way more detailed. How does that even work? Here is the redrawn piece. And then Wob adds, how can you even defend him at this point? This is fucking insane. So here, right, we have an AI dragon, anthropomorphic dragon. Here is Mac's piece for Wob. That is some crazy side by side. And then Wob added another tweet writing, there's no need to shame people for spending 300 plus on furry artwork. If you don't get it, you don't get it. Some of y'all are rude as fuck and it's pathetic. If you were a larger artist and lots of people wanted to pay you for your art, you would charge $300 too. You're not high and mighty because you wouldn't spend that much on artwork. This is what makes me happy and y'all have no idea what I've gone through. By the way, I just want to add again, yeah, like please do not bully the commissioner or anybody else for purchasing artwork. Don't we all know that like the art industry is a very impacted one? Artists always struggle to pay the bills and like, you know, make rents. Isn't it so great that like artists can make good money from some commissions? You know, that's great. We love to see that. Well, if they deliver, which in this case, Wob did get their artwork, but a lot of other people did not. And again, if you have the money, spend your money however you fucking want to spend the money, as long as it doesn't hurt other people. That's totally fine. I'm not gonna knock you for spending your money on whatever you want, you know? Some people spend thousands of dollars on Valorant. Some people spend thousands of dollars on furry art. You know, we all have our own vices. For me, it's League of Legends. Don't look at how much I spent on League or Love and Deep Space. You don't need to know that either. And Wob adds, the comments are off because I already know I'm going to get harassed into oblivion. Please understand I'm not outright saying he uses AI, but it's extremely likely. He doesn't supply speed paints for certain drawings, but will for others. It's just strange. And yeah, by the way, I will also add that too, right? Like, I never felt like Wob was guns blazing, you know? Wob always was so understanding, being like, hey, you know, this looks sus. I'm not saying he does use AI. It's just a little sus. Here we have another unfortunate victim of Mac. So they go by the handle _Cosmic Eternity on Twitter, and their nickname is Big Dapple. So Cosmic writes, hi, I'm also waiting for an update for nearly a year as well. No communication on my end whatsoever. We're in 2025 and I have to reach out to 3 social medias, but Mac has not responded to me and I'm expected to reach out multiple times. So here, this was March 28, 2023. We're going on about 2 years, almost 2 years, about when the communication started. Mac says, hello, I'm looking to take on that sketch commission if you're still interested, 110 USD. Then Cosmic says, I would love to, absolutely. Can you draw this guy right here, and links their toy house. And Max says, what a cutie, white cats are my fave. I would love to draw them. So here Cosmic is DMing them on Discord. And this was now on June 13th, 2023. Hi there, gonna set my character info here again. Here is all his anthro art, and the plants flowers I've asked is marigold. For posing, he's very slouchy and has a very grumpy and tired face most of the time. Then Mac, a long time later, this is now March 28, 2024. Mac writes, hey, I'm so sorry. This has completely slipped through the crack. I really apologize. I'll send you an update and the finished product within the next 3 days. Thank you for being so patient. And Rock says, no worries, or Cosmic, right? No worries. I appreciate it very much so. And then 4 months later, we're now in July. Hi, is there an update for this? Yeah. It is insane cryptic. And Cosmic says the quote retweets are like, quote, you spend how much for what, end quote. If I can afford it and I want to support an artist, I will pay for it. It's the lack of communication and lying and ghosting. I'm still going to commission artists no matter what their price is. I'm muting this, but I've reached an agreement with Mac due to this post. He finally reached out to me. So I'm not going to argue or respond to any other DMs or replies here. Why are you guys upset that people can afford to buy artwork and they are kind enough to want to support artists? Like, that is so unfair. People be hating for no reason. No, they actually do be hating. Again, if you can't afford it, just say so. That's fine, right? Just don't get mad at other people who can afford it for spending their money on what they want. So here is Mac. Their posts are now privated. Location currently melting. Very interesting. Again, look, I'm saying jokes and shit, but don't send hate to Mac or bully them. I just hope they can deliver on the comms they owe people. And then here, they have privated their page, but we do have some screenshots kindly provided by a woof. I appreciate it. This is on August 31st, 2024. Again, this is about the first couple of threads that I read to you, right? About the AI accusations prior to Wob's post. So this is again all in 2024. And Mac writes, I clearly need to address the accusations made about me today, saying I use AI in my work. I am honestly so incredibly hurt by this. I have read through the thread and I cannot possibly defend every single claim, comment, and assumption made against me. But here is what I can say. I have been in this community for a long time now. I love you all and I love being here. I want to continue to being here. You all have changed my life in ways I cannot possibly explain. I'm so privileged, honestly. This is my career, my livelihood. I want to make one thing clear. I do not use AI. I am so incredibly hurt and yes, angry that my passion and livelihood are being put into question, and it's sad to see some believing what I honestly have to say is baseless claims. I have shown time lapses to those who have questioned me before. Hell, if I have to give a time lapse for every future work I make to keep my peace, then I will do it. I am not a perfect artist. My proportions are wacky, my lines inconsistent. I use a grain effect. I draw sketches and scale them up and render over them. I scan IRL drawings and add things to them. It is honestly so scary that these things can lead you to being suspected of using AI. It is a really damaging claim and a really hurtful one, too. I am struggling as it is to support myself and my family, and honestly, this makes things a lot harder. I am one person, one artist. I want to say thank you to those who have spoken kindly on my behalf. I see you. If you believe I use AI in my work, I'm not going to try to change your mind. But if you enjoy my work now or even in the past, I really hope you can look at the accusations being made and realize they're kind of baseless and damaging to not just me, but those who draw like me. And then here we have a Twitter user. If you've already sent speed paint to a lot of people, I'd like to see a speed paint of this art. Remember one of the pieces that was accused of being AI? But yeah, they made a claim being like, yeah, I would love to provide time lapses. They really haven't. Hasn't been time lapses much. We do have this video. Mac posted their line art and then the finished piece. So let's see this. Let's see this overlap. We do have the line art. We do have the finished piece. It's a bit interesting, It's not necessarily a smoking gun, right? Because sometimes the artist will use like a liquefy tool afterwards to try to like manipulate the piece, so it might look a little bit different from the sketch than the final piece. But I see what you're kind of getting at here, where it's like, is another thing that's a little bit odd, right? Again, some artists just use the liquefy tool, and they sometimes change things a little bit later. But yeah, things not lining up definitely can be another like, this is a bit odd. This will be for some more context later. We have a user by the name of Tamagotchi. Damn, they actually got that name, right? Grabbing this post here. So this comment, right, the original post was deleted, but this is by Eli Spencer, who goes by Goya Goat, writing, not sure if this is a huge coincidence. I don't mind for you to reference my work, but please be transparent about credit. So we have the side by side. Looking a little bit similar, looking a little referenced. I'm just pointing this out because it'll become relevant later. Even though Senso is privated, thanks to Woof, we grabbed some screenshots. Okay, this is allegedly his pinned tweet. So Mac writes, hey guys, I just want to say that I'm aware of my unprofessional level of communication with my clients the past few months. I'm really sorry to you all truly. It was never my intention to leave you all in the dark like this and give you an unsatisfactory experience with me. I've let my life struggles take over my work and my dedication I should have had to my clients. I know I should have kept you all in the loop and I apologize for not being here to do so adequately. I've talked with those asking for refunds and worked out solutions with them, best of my ability currently. I'm not trying to scam people or take on work I never intended to finish. Every piece of artwork I intended to finish, but I let things get in the way. And I truly cannot say enough how sorry I am to those who have had to deal with these wait times from me. If you're still a current client of mine and would like to work out anything, please message me. I'm here. I understand the frustration and I take full accountability for my lack of professionalism here. I never intended for things to go this way. Thank you again for those who have stuck by me through this. And once again, please message me if you're a client of mine. Thanks. I am no longer addressing the AI allegations because everything that has been stated has already been discussed months ago. It's just the same conversation. I'm no longer speaking on it. Feel free to interpret that how you will. What matters here is my clients. That's what I'll be focused on. So here we have Eli Spencer. Again, remember that person from like 3-4 years ago who was like, hey, our art looks a little sus, Eli writes, I do not understand why you'd let people drag your art for months when it would be so simple to post a speed paint. Even if you admit AI involvement there, will probably still be people who want to commission you. I don't see why you have to lie. And Max says, I explained this numerous times before. Speed paints are turned off on my iPad as it makes my program lag horribly. I'm not admitting it because I simply don't use it. At this point, it would be easier for me to just say I do, but I don't, and I'm standing by that. And then we have some comments, We have Raptor Hound Rune saying, what's the point? Why draw over AI when you have so much raw skill? You would really rather cave and use a tool so harmful to artists instead of owning up to being tardy to a commission. And then Toast and Chill writing, yo, isn't this guy using AI? And then this was Mac's post about WAP's commission. We do have that, unfortunately, but it's just interesting. Here's another person's post writing, the chain is so obviously AI, dude, just admit it. You've already scammed people out of thousands. Here is the chain. It could be AI, right? It could also be an artist being really, really rushed and trying to complete it together. I just think the bend part here just looks really wonky. But here we also have another user, Manx Moss, writing, my personal theory is that Heart of Senso felt so much pressure to keep outputting art on social media and finish comms that he turned to AI to speed things up. It's so aggravating to see him just avoid it instead of refunding commissioners. And that is like a slippery slope that a lot of people do kind of like fall into as well. It's because they sometimes feel a pressure to keep up with a certain amount of output and then they cheat with shortcuts like AI. This was the other piece that I was looking for. This was a piece that somebody had posted on Twitter stating that it looks odd. Basically, they were referencing the glasses, how it is a side profile, but the glasses look like they completely intersect the eye. Again, you could argue user error, right? Or like human error. It's just a bit odd. And then a couple more posts from Mac here. So here, Mac says, I refunded majority of those who have asked if the work wasn't already completed. And then they also added, I'm sorry to those who have work I owe. I know things have been at snail's pace on my end. I'm doing my best to keep up with everything, but I've been a bit overwhelmed and I found it hard to reach out. Please, if I owe you work, contact me. Also, I want to touch on the AI issue. So again, more things have been circulating with my name and claiming I use AI work. I already have explained myself away in the past and all of that is still up and free to look at. But I just want to come forward and say that I think my time here might be done. I'm speaking from emotion and pure exhaustion, so maybe I'm being irrational. But I think I'm just going to finish the work I owe and take an extremely long break away from this community. I will speak more on that when I'm in a better headspace. But to those who have concerns or need to speak with me, my DMs are open. Thanks to those who have stuck by me and those who have had endless patience when it comes to my work-life issues, as of the past few months. I know my communication has been anything but professional, and I hope to get back to a regular headspace and balance soon. At the end of the day, to me, this is just a very confusing scenario because if I were accused of using AI artwork, and this is aside from the people that he owed money to, that Mac allegedly refunded, right? But if I was accused of using AI art or AI in my art process, I would double, triple, quadruple down to prove I did not use AI. So, like they say, right? Like people who are falsely imprisoned always say they're innocent. Almost always, right? Sometimes there's like coerced confessions under duress, but most of the time people who are innocent would adamantly always declare they're innocent and typically almost always provide substantial evidence to clear the narrative because they did not use AI. So I feel like it's pretty rare to see somebody falsely accused of AI, falsely in quotes, right? Just roll over and just be like, yeah, it's over, it's whatever. I feel like most people have adamantly tried to prove they did not use AI with speed paints, layers, even live streaming their art process to prove they didn't use AI. So I just think it's a bit odd that they are so gung-ho about not proving anything. They're like, I can't do a speed paint. Here's why I can't do a speed paint. I can't show you layers. Here's why I can't show you layers. There was no conversation about a live stream, right? But they never said they would do one, right? That's why I just think it's a bit odd. Because again, most artists who are falsely accused have double, triple, quadruple bent over to prove they did not use AI. So it's just interesting to me. I'm curious about your thoughts. At the end of this, right, we know for a fact there have been cases of people that they have owed money to for commissions. They have owed commissions to for a long time, like at least a year. There's been a couple people that have been waiting. So there was that aspect of them just having poor time management and unintentionally pseudo scamming people that they have allegedly refunded. We also have this case, right, of the AI art potential allegations here, and make with it whatever you will. None of this was ever a smoking gun. We never saw them go into a generator and prove, then like type up something, but everything is just a little bit suspicious, and that's the end of these things. Yeah, I mean, they clearly are talented, right? Like, again, here's some previous works that they've posted, unfinished works, right? Previous, some more work. But honestly, that's like the worst part. When artists have actual talent, but they just choose to use AI, that is always the worst one because it's literally like, why? Why choose to use AI instead of your actual hands? Because you clearly have capable hands. It's just sad, man. It's just sad at the end of the day. But again, I would love to hear your thoughts. I would love to hear what you guys think about this. And again, with respect, obviously. At the end of the day, I would never want hate and stuff like that to be sent over to somebody who's already seemingly going through it. So that's the end of that one. That was also a long one. That's crazy.